Okay. Now, before I get into the video, there's a few things that I'd like to talk about first, and I'll do so in the style of an intermission. Now, if you pay attention to some of the stuff on my channel, you'll see that 2 months ago, or around that time, I made a post talking about how I was working on the new video for the channel. But as you can see, 2 months later, and there's still no video. But luckily, the video is coming out now. And the reason for that was because me and my family decided to go to Europe for a month, and that will be a whole other video in itself. I just wanted to preface the video by explaining that. Now let's get on to the actual video. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I hold oh so very dear to me. Something that has been a constant throughout my life. Something that has utterly changed my life forever and for the better. This is something that I will stand on and defend for the rest of my living life. And either a lot of you are going to agree with me and say that it's a pretty good take, or I'll get a completely different reaction.
Kill that boy! Kill that boy! Kill that boy! Kill that boy!
But I must confess my opinion to the rest of the world. And that opinion is, you know it. You love it. You adore it. I personally believe Five Nights at Freddy's is the greatest indie game of all time. The infinitely growing love that I have for this game is unfathomable. Over the years, I definitely grew so fond of this game that it's just a part of my being at this point. Now, I've been a fan of this game ever since the first one came out, and since the second game, the third game, the fourth game,
one eternity later,
leading all the way up to Secret of the Mimic. And throughout all that time, I've only had one thought and one thought alone. Golden Freddy's the best animatronic. But that's not something I'm going to talk about today, because that's a topic that has genuinely started wars within that community. If I'm being honest, I could spend hours going crazy locked in a room talking about why this series is so amazing. And as much as I would love to make a 15-hour video, I just simply do not have the time for that. So instead I'll just go through each of the main games and just talk about what makes them so great to begin with, and just some of my personal takes. So without further ado, the first Five Nights at Freddy's game really set the tone for how the rest of the series was going to play out. There were a lot of hidden screens and a lot of hidden messages throughout the game. And it was really the first one of its kind because no other horror game was built the way Five Nights at Freddy's was. And since the first game dropped, the internet has absolutely blown up this game. For good reason, too. I don't know about you, but the first time I played Five Nights at Freddy's, I absolutely and 100% shit myself. Now, personally, the second game is a little different because it's my favorite out of the entire series. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, in my opinion, is just the best version of what Five Nights at Freddy's can be. They have the best animatronics. It has the best custom night, in my opinion, which is also one of the hardest. And I also think the secrets in this game are so cool. If you've ever played a game on Steam, you know that it shows how many hours you have on each game. And for Five Nights at Freddy's 2, it's the FNAF game that I have the most amount of hours for. Here, look, you can see I have 118 hours in this game. And that's not even counting the amount of hours I've had on different accounts in the past. So it's probably way more. Now, the third game is my least favorite out of all the original Five Nights at Freddy's games. And it's just because I think the gameplay is a little boring. But I really like the story for this game. Plus, Springtrap is also probably my second favorite animatronic out of all of them. This game made me shit myself. Absolutely the scariest one out of all of the main games. And it's not even a question. If you go up to anyone that has even the slightest idea as to what Five Nights at Freddy's is, they will tell you that Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is by far the scariest game. Even if you take away the horror aspect, this game finally tells you a little bit more about the purple guy, and you get to see the crying child's face get caved in by Fredbear. We don't talk about this one. Sister Location was pretty good because it was different. It was the first game where you could actually move around throughout the map, and I'm pretty sure the custom night is either second hardest behind FNAF 2 or the hardest, obviously aside from custom night. I really liked Pizzeria Simulator because I really liked the ending. Henry's speech at the ending of the game is really, really good. It gives me goosebumps every time I listen to it. And then all the hidden lore in the minigames like Midnight Motorist and Fruity Maze, and the jump scares in this game are disgustingly scary for no reason. Hello. This is just a little reminder to subscribe and like the video if you haven't already. That would really help out. Thank you. Back to the video. Ultimate Custom Night is so difficult because of 5020, but I beat 5020 a few years ago when it came out. I beat it. Help Wanted was pretty weird because it was all of the previous Five Nights at Freddy's games plus some extra mini games, but the whole thing with Glitch Trap was pretty cool. Aside from that, it being the first VR game is pretty good. It was a pretty good game. Security Breach was super different from all of the other games. It added free roam, and it didn't feel like a Five Nights at Freddy's game. It was super glitchy though because the map was just ginormous. But then when the DLC for it, Ruin, came out, it kind of fixed it because it made the map like a lot smaller. Like I said, I could spend hours talking about this, and maybe in another video I'll rank them all on a tier list, but for now I'm just going to talk about my personal takes on the series as a whole, and why I think that it is genuinely the best indie game of all time. And if you don't agree with something I say, you're just going to have to deal with it. Something that I really do like about these games is just how much of it there is. In total, there's 23 games. 23 games. People were getting mad that Poppy Playtime came out with a Chapter 6, but no one's talking about how Five Nights at Freddy's casually has 23 games.
You got me.
If there's one thing that I personally really like about these games is that in every game, there's at least some type of lore drop regarding the main story. Let's go back in time for a second. All the way to 2015. This is when the Five Nights at Freddy's games were just starting to come out, and were getting a lot of traction. Almost a daily routine for me would be to sit at my computer, turn it on, and just get absolutely face blasted by the amount of Five Nights at Freddy's lore videos, theory videos, and you can bet your ass that I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. Yeah, you can bet 8-year-old me was thrilled, because I had just found a new thing to obsess over for at least the next 10 years of my life. And I know there's probably a small percentage of you out there that are watching this video and are probably thinking that I'm crazy, looking at me like I definitely have a third eye on my forehead. And even though you may be right thinking that I am compulsively obsessing over this franchise, and I may be in a chronic state of denial, but to those individuals out there that do have this unfortunate mindset, I have only but one thing to say to you.
What? We're flying to Philadelphia. Oh, hell no. What? We're flying to Philadelphia. Oh, hell no.
Something else that's kind of niche that I don't really hear a lot of other people talking about is how the main story of Five Nights at Freddy's isn't told to you up front. A lot of the time you have to look for secrets that are either spread throughout the games or the literal files of the game. I really like how they do this, not only because it adds so much more, but it feels like there's a second story that's going on. A story that feels like the game itself is trying to hide it from you. And even though trying to unlock these secrets is like getting pierced through the back with an arrow, just because of the least, even if you don't uncover the secret, there's a certain someone that would always uncover them for you. And thank God he did, because I'm pretty sure we would have no idea what's going on in the story if it wasn't for that one single someone. Because some of these theories were just straight up.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
I'm so glad that the community collectively decided to come together and leave it to the one person who knew what he was doing. Cause without him, I'm pretty sure we would all be super lost on the lore. Just thinking back to when I was younger,
Flashback.
and I would wait for the next game theory video to drop, it was like Christmas Day. Because at the time, I'm pretty sure that there was nothing that interested me more than the lore of these games. The moment he would drop, I would rush to my computer and watch his breakdown. And each time I learned something new, it would completely change my entire understanding of the series. Because all of a sudden, something that happened in Security Breach would completely change the way you would see something in the fourth game. But that's just part of what makes this game so good to begin with. how the story just keeps building no matter how many games come out. Anyway, that's my reasoning as to why I think that Five Nights at Freddy's is the best indie game. Remember, these are just my personal opinions on Five Nights at Freddy's. Whether it's because of the theories, which because of a certain someone became part of my daily routine a few years ago, or the hidden lore in the games, because there's definitely not a shit ton of that. Or lastly, the story, which in my opinion, aside from like One Piece, is one of my favorite stories that I've ever seen in my entire life. And that might be a stretch, but hey, I love the game, so what are you gonna do? I do hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.